Good morning. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. So we're once again just keying in on the weekly candle and more importantly, the monthly candle. So check out the weekend analysis video and you can get a really good picture of what we're looking for into the future when we start the correction. Will we have a deep correction? Will this be the top? Those are the two scenarios that we're looking at so far, and I'm going to go through that in a little bit on the 65. But other than that, price is just gapping up overnight and losing momentum during the day, during trading hours. So until we get our catalyst tomorrow, the next day, earnings, GDP, FOMC, all of these things are coming up. There's so many catalysts, tariffs. Then, I think those will mark our reversal. We're in the danger zone. We're actually we peaked above it here. So let's see. Is this some sort of breakout? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and wait 3 to go, and we'll just get nice big green bars after this? Sure. I don't know, but all of our indicators are not suggesting that. Okay, and that's why we're doing these videos each and every day, so make sure you hit that notification bell. We'll check out all these indicators on the daily time frame in the 65 if you're new here, and we just follow along like a storyline, checking out the divergences, what happens after these signals happen, and how can we interpret them and learn in the future. Okay, so we're doing this intraday about 11:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. It's 99 cents a month. It comes with the Discord and trade alerts. I added on a couple more contracts, some puts today, and we're looking for a reversal coming soon. I didn't know if today, maybe we get a little bit of a drop. It's not likely anything happens until the catalysts occur, but sometimes things happen early and then you get a bounce from the catalysts that give you a false signal, false sense of security, and then you head lower. So also we have 9 gaps open. So check that out on the 65. Make sure you stick around. All right. So we're looking at a contrarian look here on Trin. That's it plays with volume. I'm not going to go into learning what Trin is, but anything over 1.0 is bullish, but bullish to a point where it's actually contrarian bearish. And also these put call symbols, those are breadth indicators, and they're just really, really complacent. And we've been seeing that for quite some time, as a matter of fact. All right, and the breadth of the market, advanced declines are not good, but you have some of the big tech stocks that are holding things up, and we're starting to lose a little bit of momentum in NVIDIA today. Tesla, something that we're looking at breaking down or breaking out anytime now and getting really tight, and I think both of those are probably going to be big contributors to the downside. But don't forget, even though we don't talk about Microsoft very much, we have earnings coming up, and I think Microsoft's going to be a big factor to the downside. I think it's played out. I think the divergences on the monthly and the weekly are going to play out as well. All right, let's go through it. We have SPX. On the daily time frame, we're looking at that danger zone right here, the 1929 trend line in 2008. I've been saying this. That's where we caught these tops here. This was a little bit easier to play than this move here. Maybe we're only in this phase at this point. This was the election here, gap up, and things held. But we could actually trade these. So we got our moves down, made some money, and added some hedges, got moves up, and then we kept, we're able to make money to the downside. We're not getting any two-way trade here, so it hasn't been pleasant for my puts that I had. Obviously a couple times we did okay, but we're certainly not in the green on this move here. All right, so moving averages. Can't deny we're in a bullish posture. We're getting a bearish engulfing candle right now. But we have the 8 EMAs still pointing up. 20 is the trend. Trend is up. Momentum's up. but we're into resistance, right? McClellan oscillator. Breadth indicator. This, to me, is all you need to know. This right here, you had your former top, then you made a new high with negative divergence. And then as price started to roll over, you get this new high right here. Well, you didn't have the high. That was one or two candles. That was one candle before. So you had a little strength there. That was your peak. And then the next day you made a new high, but breadth was already heading lower. Here, you had your peak. Right there, you see that green candle. And then 1, 2, 3, even 4 days later, your breadth is heading lower. All right, that's not a good sign. That's very bearish. It's very weak for the market, so we're looking for it. The reversal could have happened today. That could have happened today with this big red bar here, but we'll see. That's why we do this every day. MACD even gave us a little green somewhere. We're back in the red, but even gave us a little green crossover. It's just done nothing. It's just been stuck sideways here. And it seems forever. This has been months in the making. 2 months. Over 2 months of grinding to the upside with momentum flipping. So one thing we can learn off of this is that doesn't always occur that way. Okay, we haven't had a significant correction in there and we're going sideways. You can see this, we're obviously not looking for a reversal in this entire move here until you start seeing RSI, negative divergences happening there. So you can see price action can stay up there. We did draw a trend as well. So we knew that with that little trend that it was making, that we could see when it curled over, and we started adding some puts later on. There was other reasons. There's other indicators that we look at for that. But when you're in uptrend, obviously this can stick. All right. Now, it doesn't always happen that way. We're not going to go back too far here. We're looking at this wave 3, in my opinion. And so that's your strongest wave. And so you can't really see too much, but your other waves give you a lot more trading. All right. So it's up and down, oscillating. You get trades out of it. And then you get this nice big correction, positive divergence. And once that happens, that was wave 3. That's relentless. Okay. Looks like Vixen's giving us a little symbol there, alert there. That's the VIX of the NASDAQ. The McClellan, not the McClellan oscillator, the slow stochastic. This is our indicator we're looking at for our first sell signal. All right, and we're just not there. We're a point above 80. We're at 81 and a half. We're looking for this to cross over to give us our first sell signal since the beginning of July, where we had that sideways move here. So DMARC. Today we have that 9 count we were talking about yesterday. We had the 8 yesterday. We got our 9 count there. I think right now it's invalidating because we're within. It depends how it closes, okay? Because 4 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get, maybe it's the 4th. So counting this candle, maybe that's the 4th because we're crossing this candle right here. I think it negates the count. But not that we need the count to get a sell, but we were looking at that to happen. And I thought it was 4 candles behind, but it could be the 4th candle because we're definitely not to this candle here. All right, but we're crossing this candle. And so if we close below here, maybe if it goes back up, you'll see that 9 count again. But we definitely got it today either way. Let's go to Awesome Oscillator. Still, even though it's pushing, we still have that divergence here. We don't have to have that secondary line, but that's what we're talking about right here. You'll see that again on the Elliott oscillator. Let's go to SPY. Okay, the money flow index, it catches turns, catches a lot of turns here, to the upside and to the downside. I love using this. Now, obviously, it takes a lot of time sometimes. All this has that divergence in it. And we made a new high from here. So really what we're looking at this point, because this whole triangle broke out to the upside, really what we're looking at is just, let's take this one out. This peak to this peak at this point. All right, now you could argue that this one gave us a correction for this move here. But, let's see. Are we going to get overbought again? Not sure. But so far, just sideways, holding up, chopping, negative divergence. Sell signal. Sell signal looks like it's finally playing out from the Bollinger Band. We're up at the upper band with an overbought condition. Now, today we made a new high. So technically, there's another divergence here. All right, we'll see how we close. But today with the new high, you have a weaker RSI. Elliott oscillator. Same thing as the awesome oscillator that we were just looking at, showing wave 3 into wave 5. Let's go ahead and go over to the VIX. All right, so the VIX, ideal low was yesterday. And remember, we talked about making one more low. We're still in that window. We're going to be in that window for a day or two. So could we make another low? Maybe. Sure. But we have this beautiful trend line here from this low to this low to this low to this low. So it's holding up well. It's a nice setup here for a wedge, and we're getting really tight price action in here. I think a good chance that we're going to start breaking out pretty soon. All right, minor circle low. Now what we do have to watch out for, is this a trend change? And do we get a higher low going into the dominant low phase? So we could get a big pop, could get a nice size pop out of the remainder of this and in the rising minor phase, and then get a drop for a higher low into the dominant phase here, and then continue the cycle higher at that point. So let's see what kind of characteristic this gives us after this setup breaks out. Let's go to SPY 65. Again, if you want to learn the pathway on the daily time frame, just go back to the weekend video. Okay, well, let's look at the traditional and let's get the traditional look here. And also, here's our gaps. We have 9 gaps open. How many gaps are we going to fill on the trip lower? That's my question to you. There's a gap there too. All right. Didn't mean to move that. Okay, so we had our last wedge up here, which gave us possible wave. You have 2 into wave 4, and that gave us our trend line right here. One last pop off of there, and now we're breaking down. So we have a sell signal right happening right now. Today could end up with a tiny bounce. I don't know what's inside of here. Is this a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we get, and then a bounce and then lower? I think there's a good chance that this top is in. All right, I know I've said that previously, but now that we have our count, even if you consider this I think this is a 3-wave move right here for wave 3, 4, and you get the extension of wave 5 with the momentum gaining, where 1 is the shortest, 3 is longer than 1, but 5 is the longest here. I think that's the situation that we're in, and so this was a 3-wave move possibly right there to end everything. Okay, so ending diagonal, that's what we're looking at. What else? So you have your options expected move to the downside. We're bound to hit that. It hasn't occurred since God knows when, May or so, when we hit the bottom end of the options expected move. Even in uptrends, you hit that bottom every once in a while, and we haven't hit it in a while. I think you're playing with fire to be anything long up here, unless it's cannabis stocks. Now, we got to do our indicators. So our moving averages, we're underneath. The trend is changing here on the 65. We're getting underneath. Are we going to hold like this? I don't think we have much to hold on to. You have a little bit of volume in this, so that's why we're stalling right here. But you have your 8 EMA rolling over, and you have your 20 simple moving average that is rolling over as well. Here's our look in the near term. You have a sell signal here on the MACD that's giving you nice red histograms. This is probably going to cycle through. We're not oversold yet, but we made a negative divergence. This is a 3 peak right here. You have your peak, second peak, third peak of divergence. This is a wonderful setup to the downside. And you already had that sell. Let's see what the slow stoke does. I think it popped up here, but I think it's looking to cross back over to give us some play to the downside. DMARC, so you had the 9 sell. Price obviously went higher. And let's see if we can start getting a count to the downside. I want to see a nice 9 count to the downside occur before I really start taking off any profit when we do get our reversal, which I think just occurred. I want to see a 9 count. I want to see oversold situations. I want to see a 9 count, and I want to see a 5-wave move down here. All right, this could get pretty relentless if it wants to with all the catalysts that are happening, and you could see a nice big move to begin our either correction or our top. Okay, so don't, in my opinion, not really necessary. It could give us a nesting type action. So I suppose you could take profit on the really short time frames that you might have. If you followed some of my trades, you know that some of them are looking pretty grim. But even the ones that are worth 10 cents or so are going to come back to life. But if we start getting maybe nesting, like a 1-2, 1-2 type move, maybe take profits in the near term and roll out as you can, because this will end up playing out. And it's probably in the near term, if you're looking at this as one move, 5-wave move, we're at minimum going to test the probably the bottom of that and looking to close the gap, and you'll see why in just a second. Maybe even this gap here as well. So awesome oscillator. Again, in that very near term, you had the negative divergence there. Money flow. Clear this up. Money flow. There's your peak, and you got a divergence. That's distribution, folks. Bollinger Band. We had our sell signal. Today we had another sell signal into the top of the band, really tight. So we'll probably test it the bottom end today. But this expansion is probably going to start heading to reversal to the downside now. Same thing with the L8 oscillator. Boom, boom. Higher, lower highs, higher highs. Okay, so here's your here's what we're looking for. Okay, let's stay bullish. All right. I'm looking for a top, a reversal to happen. But in the bullish scenario, you have some people calling this wave 3 into wave 4. I have an AB. And the reason is because from the weekend video, I have an expanding move here. And so this is either done, top is in, or in my opinion, we have a B wave, and then we have a whole nother sequence to go up after that. Okay, so that's so extremely bullish. I think it's very doubtful that that could occur, but what do I know? We're already elevated to 211%. Buffett indicator. There's reasons why I think the top is in. Now, if we can reset a lot of these oscillators that we see in the daily time frame or even on the weekly, if we can reset those really quick, maybe then we can start identifying that we have new highs coming. Okay, so we're looking at here a possible correction into the 23.6 and the 382. Now I have a 50% down here because if this is a B wave, you can have a retracement all the way anywhere. This could be, we just can't pass the bottom, all right, of wave 4 there. You see in the green on the left side of the screen, you just can't cross that, and otherwise it negates the count. But if we're this bullish, we should be holding on to moving averages, and you have your 200-day moving average and 100 and such down here as well. So all this should hold right in this zone. Even if I'm talking about this one in the green, we still should hold. You can't negate this count. So it's going to stay no matter what, whether you're bullish or bearish. But I'm going to leave it here for now. Okay, so what we're looking at is a possible 5-wave move up for an A complete. And then I set this, if you've been following me, I had it on this low because that's my count, 1, 2. This is where things should hold, okay? But I want to bring it down to, I've seen wave counts that are 1, 2 right here, and then 1, 2, blah, 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 all the way to the top. So we're going to give benefit of the doubt to this low as being the bottom of 2. And that brings our retracements a little bit lower here. So we're still looking at 580 to 600, that zone. And that makes sense because we have a top here. All right, you have support, and you had support here as well. So it makes a lot of sense for that. And even if you're eyeing that 50% move, that just closes the gap right there. So you have a volume node here from trading. Also support, okay, once resistance. So I think this is extremely shallow, 23.6. I don't think that will complete the move. All right, but we should get a reaction off of it. And so I'm putting the A here. It's a possible move. Boom. And then some sort of corrective B, which could be anything, a triangle, it could be a nice deep zigzag, it could be anything. And then the C wave coming into the 382 or the 50% here. All right, if it's going to be equal, it's probably going to be somewhere a little lower here. You know, we'll see. We need more information in order to see this play out. But all right, so we'll probably add some call protection at each one of these levels to at least get a bounce from. Now, if things get crazy, you could have a little bounce here, and that's a wave 2. And then you could have a wave 3 that just keeps going, 4 and 5 down here. That would be our initial wave 1. That's a possibility too that we have to keep in mind. And that's more of what I'm actually looking for in my version. So 1, 2, and then we're looking for wave 3 to be an extension, but we have to see where wave 2 ends before we can add any more information on this possible reversal here. All right, so we won't get into that anymore. And that's it, you guys. That's what I want to show you. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the flip side.